Every day is so wonderful, and suddenly it's hard to breathe. Now and then I get insecure from all the pain. I'm so ashamed. I am beautiful, no matter what they say. Words can't bring me down. I am beautiful in every single way. Words can't bring me down. No, 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 no. So don't you bring me down today. To all your friends, you're delirious, so consumed in all you do, trying hard to fill the emptiness. The piece is gone, left the puzzle undone, and that's the way it is. You are beautiful, no matter what they say. Words can't bring you down. Oh no, you are beautiful in every single way. Yes, words can't bring you down. So don't you bring me down today. No matter what we do, no matter what we say, there's a song inside of us full of beautiful mistakes. And everywhere we go, the sun will always, always shine on us. 'Cause we are beautiful, no matter what they say. Yes, words won't bring us down. No, 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 no. We are beautiful in every single way. Yes, words can't bring us down. So don't you bring me down today. Today. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed that.
That was beautiful. That was so beautiful. I need like a minute to recover from it. It was beautiful. Thank you so, so much. On that note, I'm going to introduce you to our first speaker of the day, Zen. He is a trans man working with Nazaria QFRG as a program associate. He is a trained educator and has been studying the field of education for the past 6 years. The floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I want to thank the Write Ops team for having me here. It's an honor, honestly, and I wish you all the luck for the future ventures and everything. In this talk, I'm basically going to talk about the challenges that the community is facing right now amidst this pandemic and related to the wider question of education, since I am also an educator. With that, I'll begin the talk. Okay, so looking at the challenges that the queer community is facing right now, we all have been affected by this pandemic in various different ways, and so has the community. So a lot of people have lost their jobs during this pandemic, and one of the very depressing reasons that they have been given for this job, for being kicked out of their jobs is basically the mismatch between their names in their documents and their identity. So for example, if I give you my example, I go by the name Zayan. My pronouns are he, him, but the name which is there in my document is something else. So, organizations, corporates usually take this as an excuse to expel the people from the community from their workplace. And this has happened a lot during this pandemic. Uh, a lot of people from the community are also stuck with their homophobic and transphobic families. Since earlier they could access spaces like schools, colleges, workplaces, which was also a kind of escape for all of them to leave their families. But right now it is not at all happening, looking at the situation in which we all are stuck. Uh, People do not have access to private spaces where they can access to therapies for their mental health, and it's also a added burden on them to get their hormones if they're on their HRT, and vaccines are being very inaccessible to the community because everything has been taken up in this online modality, and people do not really have an access to gadgets. In Nazaria, we get to know about a lot of cases when people are not able to register themselves for these vaccines. So that is also an additional challenge and burden on the community. So now, as Sharanya has already shared about one of the aspects of this talk today, that which is also to fuel the inclusion of the LGBTQIA plus community in the mainstream society. So the wider question that we have is also attached and related to the aspect of education, and I'm going to talk more about it. Uh, First of all, I'll give you a number. So the literacy rate, especially in the transgender community, I'm specifically focusing on the transgender community here, is just 46%, whereas that in the cisgender community, it is 76%. So this huge difference, this significant difference in the numbers of the literacy rate tells us a lot about the whole domain of education and structure of school. So often we get to hear questions like, I had to mention this before I started the talk. So I'm going to keep this talk in Hindi and English so that language does not become a barrier for a lot of us in the audience. So often the question that we get to hear from the people, especially in the schools like teachers, principals, administration, is how do you know that even that children who are there in the school are even transgender or not? So I'll tell you something about this thing. So in 2011, a very interesting census happened in which it was shared that 4 to 5 lakhs of the population called themselves as transgender persons. And out of this entire number, 55,000 were the students, were children from the age group of 0 to 6. So we can't really assume that the children in our classroom are just boys or girls. There's much more variety that exists in the classroom. Okay. And if I'll give you my example, there are also a lot of studies that have said that children by the age of 5, they know about their gender identity. And if I share about myself, yes, I also knew about myself. By the age of 4 or 5, I knew that I'm different. I do not belong in this body. I see myself as a man. I see myself as a boy. Though, of course, due to education and the curriculum we do not have any vocabulary, we do not have any representation. So I didn't have the vocabulary to say that I'm a transgender person, but I could feel it. So now I'll talk more about the problems which are there in the education sector. So the whole structure basically works in the binaries of male and female. तो अगर आप children's literature देखेंगे, we all have read different kinds of children's literature in our childhood. Okay, so be it Cinderella story, Rapunzel, and various other different stories, they all just reinforce us in the binaries of male and female. They push us to just pick one of the gender norms and align with that. And we all, people from the LGBTQI community, we transgress our gender expression, we transgress in different ways, but the school really pushes us to just pass as cis. So with this, I'm also reminded of one of my experiences at school. I was in class 7, and the prefects at my school, they would often tell me, I had longer hair, and they would tell me to make a plait out of it. And that was a very, very dysphoric experience for me. So the school, in a way, they are not ready to see any kind of transgression, and they push us constantly into the binaries. So I was made to tie my hair, make a plaid out of it, and behave and walk and talk like a girl, because that is what is expected out of us perpetually. So these children's literature are also in the binaries. They work in the binaries of male and female. And looking at the school norms that we have, especially the uniforms, the the uniforms and various other structures like seating arrangement, they are all segregated. So for example, at school, we often get to know that people were made to sit separately. So the boys are going to sit in separate row and girls are going to sit in another row. And that is the problem which increases the dysphoria in the people. So while I was also doing my dissertation on the topic of understanding the educational experiences of the transgender persons at school, many of them also told me that how this all was a very difficult experience, of this, an experience full of distress and discomfort when they were made to sit in a particular row. So if I see myself as a transgender man, if I'm going to be told by the people कि आपको girls की line में बैठना है, that is going to be a very, very uncomfortable experience for me. So this also happens at school. Another aspect which is there with us is that of gendered vocabulary, gendered language. So teachers also at school, they often greet the children in the classroom by saying, hello, boys and girls. But that is not really the reality. So if you are going to call me hello, girl, I'm really gonna be very sad about it. Why are you calling me a girl? I'm not one. So a lot can be done in this space of education. I'm going to talk about the changes at the end. But before that, it is also very imperative for me to talk about why does it all happen and what does the policies have to say about all of this domain of education. So we all recently, we got a very contested, debated, and celebrated document, which was called the National Education Policy of 2020. So that policy explicitly mentions about transgender persons and says that it is very imperative for all of us in this sector to make it accessible from the for the people of the community to access education. But did that happen? That's something which we all have to think. So when it comes to the Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Act, that act also mentions about an inclusive education for transgender persons. But nowhere in the act does it mention about the word infrastructure. Now, when it comes to transgender community and infrastructure, this is a very, very important link that we all have to make. So the people from the community are always in a very difficult situation when it comes to the washrooms, because you see, even at schools, we have segregated washrooms just for boys and girls, be it metros, boys and girls, restaurants, boys and girls. So which washroom do I have to access is a problem, because if you look at me, if I want to go and access a men's washroom, that is difficult for me, because there I might see challenges pertinent to violence. And if I go in a girls' washroom, their attendant would tell me to go and use the another washroom. And this is something which is a problem that we face in our everyday lives, right? So washroom is such a necessary thing for all of us. पर ये जो access है, ये अगर पूरी दुनिया में से सिर्फ कुछ लोगों को मिलता है और कुछ को नहीं मिलता, तो we can also understand how this whole system is very unfair for the people from a particular community, right? So also another important thing when it comes to the NEP, New Education Policy of 2020, it doesn't mention anything about the intersex persons and non-binary persons, right? So persons with intersex variation and transgender persons, they have been confused even in the document, even in the Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Act. So the people who have made this act, they do not have any clarity about the difference between the two, and same is being perpetuated in different acts and policies which we have for the sector of education. Sharanya, may I please know how much more time do I have?
A few more minutes and then you can wrap.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah. So there is also a politics of problems, which is also very important for all of us to understand. तो कौन सी प्रॉब्लम को हम प्रॉब्लम मानेंगे, ये समस्या हमारे सामने हमेशा रहती है. ओके. सो नालसा जजमेंट 2014 में जो नालसा जजमेंट आया, जिसके अंदर द ट्रांसजेंडर पर्सन्स ऑल्सो गॉट अ राइट ऑफ सेल्फ आइडेंटिफिकेशन, उसमें एक बहुत ही पेक्यूलियर जो सिग्निफिकेंट चेंज थी वो ये भी था कि उसके अंदर द ट्रांसजेंडर community got the status of third gender. Now, calling it a third gender in itself is a very problematic thing. Why? First, we are creating hierarchies here. If we, transgender people, are third gender, then who is first gender? That is the first question. Who is the second gender? Another question. So, looking at the composition of our society, which is highly patriarchal, one thing is very simple and clear, that first gender is, of course, male, men. Second, woman. Third, transgender, as it is very clearly been mentioned by the Nalsa judgment. So, इस hierarchy में हम तो end में ही आ गए, तो हमारी जिंदगी से रिलेटेड जो चेंजेस होंगे वो भी एंड में ही आएंगे. तो ये जो पॉलिटिक्स ऑफ प्रॉब्लम है कि किसकी प्रॉब्लम को प्रॉब्लम देखा जा रहा है, ये भी हमारे पास बहुत जरूरी है समझना और इसके ऊपर सोचना और सवाल करना. तो अगर हम बात करते हैं, इवन इफ एनईपी और आरटीई और बहुत सारी ऐसी चीजें हैं जिसके अंदर बहुत सारे पावरफुल लोगों ने बहुत सारी बातें बोली है, जैसे एलजी ने एक बार कहा था कि जो आरटी एक्ट में 25% कोटा है फॉर ईडब्ल्यूएस स्टूडेंट्स, उसके अंदर अब हम ट्रांसजेंडर बच्चों को भी देखेंगे. बात तो बहुत अच्छी कही, सुनने में अच्छा भी लगेगा. हम में से काफी लोग बोलेंगे कि फिर जयन किस बात की चिंता है, फिर कह क्यों रहे हो, शिकायत क्यों कर रहे हो रहा है ना, एक्सेस तो हो रहा है. बट द क्वेश्चन व्हिच अराइजेस हियर is the system ready to welcome transgender students? Are the teachers ready? Is the administration ready? They aren't. They aren't ready. The experience of the transgender persons in the school has been very, very difficult in various different ways. So now it comes the turn for changes that can be made in this domain, right? Which we all can bring in, which we all can discuss about. So, सबसे पहली बात ये है कि there is a myth which revolves around this whole discourse of gender and sexuality, कि अगर हम बच्चों को जेंडर और सेक्सुअलिटी के बारे में पढ़ाएंगे तो वो सारे क्वेयर हो जाएंगे या फिर वो सारे ट्रांसजेंडर हो जाएंगे. ये बिल्कुल भी सच नहीं है. इस मिथ को अभी के अभी इस टॉक में ही प्लीज तोड़ दीजिए. ओके. अक्सर हम देखते हैं कि जब भी हम ट्रेनिंग्स करते हैं तो स्कूल में अक्सर ये चीज आती है कि ये पढ़ाना क्यों है, ये जरूरी क्यों है. सो आई टेल यू, पढ़ाना क्यों जरूरी है सभी के लिए. और इसके अंदर मैं दोनों का ही पर्सपेक्टिव, एक ट्रांसजेंडर व्यक्ति का विच इज मी, और हाउ इट इज इम्पोर्टेंट फॉर इवन द सिसजेंडर कम्युनिटी, मैं दोनों के बारे में बताता हूँ आपको. तो फॉर मी पर्टिकुलरली इट वाज वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू एक्सेप्ट माई सेल्फ. आई गॉट द वोकैबुलरी, आई गॉट टू नो अबाउट माई सेल्फ इन वेरी लेट फेज ऑफ माई लाइफ, एंड इट टुक मी entire undergrad to accept myself as a transgender man. And my experience became better when I came into masters and got an access to different queer alliances. तो अगर ये vocabulary शुरू से curriculum में भी होती तो it would have been more easy for me to access such vocabulary and think about me and others. और cisgender बच्चों की जहाँ पर बात आती है, तो अक्सर हम देखते हैं कि ट्रांसजेंडर बच्चों पर जो भी वायलेंस होता है या जो भी जिस तरह से वो बुली किए जाते हैं, वो सब जो वायलेंस है वो आता है टीचर्स की तरफ से या फिर सिसजेंडर स्टूडेंट्स की तरफ से. तो अगर ये चीजें करिकुलम में एक्सप्लिसिटली होंगी तो हमें पता होगा कि हमसे अलग जो डिफरेंसेस हैं, हाउ डू वी रियली रिएक्ट टू देम, हाउ डू वी मेक अ बेटर एनवायरमेंट फॉर देम, हाउ डू वी बिकम अ बेटर एलाई टू देम, राइट. स्कूल्स में यूनिफॉर्म एक बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट चीज माना जाता है. तो यूनिफॉर्म के बारे में हम ये कर सकते हैं कि वी कैन ओपन इट, वी कैन जस्ट टेल द पीपल, द स्टूडेंट्स, दैट इट इज अप टू यू कि आप जो भी यूनिफॉर्म पहनना चाहते हैं पहन लीजिए. जरूरी नहीं है कि अगर आप एक महिला के शरीर में पैदा हुए हैं तो आपको सूट या स्कर्ट ही पहनना है. So this is something which we all can do in various different ways, right? करिकुलम को हम और इंक्लूसिव बना सकते हैं, अपने स्कूल में ट्रेनिंग्स करा सकते हैं, बच्चों के साथ बात कर सकते हैं. पर इसी के अलावा हमें एक सिग्निफिकेंट चेंज पॉलिसीज में भी चाहिए और टीचर एजुकेशन में भी चाहिए, जिसके अंदर ये सारी चीजों को हम और डिटेल में देख सकें. सो आई विल एंड इट हियर, एंड इफ एनीवन हैज एनी क्वेश्चन दे कैन श्योरली आस्क मी. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Okay, Thank you for that insight, Zayan. I was really captivated by it and I learned a lot. That was really informative. So guys, I just wanted to tell everyone that we're going to have another singer performing next. But before I introduce her, the chat box is going to be open to questions. So if any of you have any questions that you'd like to ask Zayan and any of the following speakers, then you can just put a message in the chat box and direct it specifically to Sharanya. And after the singer sings and performs for us, we will ask Zayan those questions for you guys. All right, we're hoping to get at least a few from you guys. Now, moving on to the next singer. Again, I'm so honored to introduce Sanya. She just graduated out of high school and she comes from a musical family. I don't need to say more about her. Her voice will do that. Sanya, take it away.
Thank you for that introduction. And also, my name is Sanya. I go by the pronoun she, her. And thank you, Zayan. That was very eye-opening. And I'm going to learn a lot from this seminar. So I'll start by singing my first song. So I'm going to be singing Sweater Weather as my first song. All I am is a man. I want the world in my hands. I hate the beach, but I stand in California with my toes in the sand. Use the sleeves of my sweater. Let's have an adventure. My head in the clouds, with my gravity centered. Touch my neck, and I'll touch yours. You and those little high-waisted shorts. Oh, she knows what I think about. What I think about. One love, two mouths. One love, one house. No shirt, no blouse. Just us, you find out. Nothing that I wouldn't want to tell you about, no. 'Cause it's too cold for you here and now. So let me hold both your hands in the holes of my sweater. If I might take your breath away, I don't mind if there's not much to say. Sometimes the silence guides our mind till we move to a place so far away, yeah. Goosebumps start to race the minute that my left hand meets your waist. Then I watch your face, put my finger on your tongue 'cause you love to taste, yeah. These hearts adore everyone who wanna be its hardest for. Inside this place is warm, outside it starts to pour. Coming down, one love, two mouths. One love, one house. No shirt, no blouse. Just us, you find out. Nothing that I wouldn't wanna tell you about. No, 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 it's too cold for you here and now. So let me hold both your hands in the holes on my sweater. Cold for you here and now. So let me hold both your hands in the holes on my sweater. Thank you for listening. My next song is by One Direction, Little Things. I'd like to bring this song back. Okay. Your hand fits in mine like it's made just for me. But bear this in mind, it was meant to be. And I'm joining up the dots with the freckles on your cheeks. And it all makes sense to me. I know you've never loved the crinkles by your eyes when you smile. You've never loved your stomach or your thighs, the dimple in your back at the bottom of your spine. But I love them endlessly. I won't let these little things slip out of my mouth. But if I do, it's you. Oh, it's you they add up to, and I'm in love with you. And all your little things
go to bed without a cup of tea. And maybe that's the reason that you talk in your sleep. And all those conversations, all the secrets that I keep, though it makes no sense to me. I know you've never loved the sound of your voice on tape. You never want to know how much you weigh. You still have to squeeze into your jeans, but you're perfect to me. I won't let these little things slip out of my mouth. But if I do, it's you. Oh, it's you they add up to. And I'm in love with you. And all your little things, I won't let these little things. I won't let these little things slip out of my mouth. But it's you, oh, it's you they add up to. And I'm in love with you. And all your little things. You never love yourself half as much as I love you. And you never treat yourself right, darling, but I want you to. If I let you know I'm here for you, then maybe you love yourself like I love you. Oh, I've just let these little things slip out of my mouth. But it's you, oh, it's you they add up to. And I'm in love with you. And all your little things. Thank you so much.
That was, I mean, I've been obsessed with your voice since run through. This is amazing. That was really, really good. Thank you so, so much, Sania. Okay, now we have quite a few questions for Zain. The first one is, I'm going to give everyone's name anonymous. What would you suggest to change the washroom problem?
Okay, so are we going one by one in the questions?
Okay.
So when it comes to the washrooms, at schools, I'm hoping this question is directed towards the schools, right? So infrastructural change, कोई भी लाने में, of course, I would say finances की ज़रूरत तो बेशक है, पर अगर एक और हम वॉशरूम खड़ा कर दें तो उसमें प्रॉब्लम क्या है? I'm not saying कि सिर्फ जेंडर न्यूट्रल वॉशरूम ही होना चाहिए. What I'm saying, क्योंकि जेंडर न्यूट्रल वॉशरूम अगर रहेगा तो उसके अंदर फिर एक ये आर्ग्यूमेंट जरूर हमेशा आता है कि what about the safety of children and women? Okay, so I acknowledge that is also a very important aspect of the problems that we have at hand. But अगर हम एक और वॉशरूम, जेंडर न्यूट्रल वॉशरूम along with men's washroom and women's washroom रख देंगे, तो उसमें मुझे लगता है कि the access towards this to this basic necessity is going to get better. So yeah, that is going to be my response to that, Sharanya.
Okay, so we have another question. It is directed to the same thing about the washroom problem.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay.
I'm going to, take that as answered and move on. Okay, the next one is, what would be the best way for students to approach the school administration to look at degendered uniforms?
Okay, school administration. बहुत अच्छा सवाल है जिसने भी किया है. थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर पुटिंग दैट अप. तो स्कूल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन में कौन लोग हैं? सबसे पहले हमें इस पर सवाल करना है. स्कूल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन और स्कूल में बाकी सभी लोग, बी इट द टीचर्स, प्रिंसिपल, एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, हेल्पिंग स्टाफ, सभी की मुझे लगता है ट्रेनिंग्स होना बहुत जरूरी है। ये ट्रेनिंग्स अगर हम थोड़ी सी सेंसिटाइजेशन डाल देंगे, किसी भी तरह से थोड़ी बहुत भी डाल देंगे, तो भी मुझे लगता है कि काफी चेंजेस आ सकते हैं। इस जो यूनिफॉर्म की चीज है, इसके बारे में आई वुड से कि सिर्फ एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को हम इतनी पावर ना दें, क्योंकि जो कि एक और चीज है, एसएमसी, स्कूल मैनेजमेंट कमिटीज, ओके, विच इज ऑल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट ऑफ स्कूल। तो अगर वहां पर भी यूनिफॉर्म्स की बात की जाती है और उस तरीके से अगर हम स्कूल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन के पास ये चीज लेकर आ सकते हैं, तो दैट इज गोइंग टू हेल्प अस एज वेल। आई होप योर क्वेश्चन इज एड्रेस्ड विद दिस आंसर.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next one. I'm quoting the person when I'm saying this. So I'm bi. I have a public art account. I just casually told about how I'm bisexual on my story because of Pride Month. So how do I deal with homophobic people on the internet?
जिसका भी ये सवाल था, आई एम ऑल्सो म्यूजिशियन, तो मैं सबसे पहले एक लाइन गाऊंगा गाने की, इफ एट ऑल आई एम अलाउड फॉर दिस. शरण्या, मे आई प्लीज? ओके. रहना तू है जैसा तू, ओके, तो बस जैसे हो वैसे रहो. आई वुड से कि होमोफोबिया, ट्रांसफोबिया हमारे आसपास बहुत ज्यादा है, बट ऑल वी कैन डू इज जस्ट लव आवरसेल्व्स. सो जस्ट हग योरसेल्फ. वी ऑल आर हियर, द कम्युनिटी इज हियर, द पीपल फ्रॉम द कम्युनिटी लव you, and we are always there with you. So just don't worry too much about them. I understand that it also takes a toll on our mental health at times, but I just want to tell you, okay, you are very special, my friend, and just stay strong. And I welcome you, and I want to congratulate you for coming out in such a beautiful way, and all the very best for your art. Much love to you. Yeah.
Okay. So the next question is, I want to ask you, if you've come out to your family, how difficult was it, and what would you advise people who wish to come out to their family?
Okay. So I haven't come out to my family yet, and it is a very strange kind of thing, because my chosen family, my professors, my friends, a lot of people around me know about my reality except for my family, and that is one of the very saddest part of the thing. But if at all you want to come out, मुझे एक सलाह किसी प्रोफेसर ने दी थी, और वही मैं यहाँ पर कॉपी पेस्ट जरूर करना चाहूंगा, which is कि do not come out to your family unless you feel ready. Second, it's very important for you to have a job before coming out to them, because parents have this anxiety that if you're going to come out to them or to the world as queer, तो society आपके साथ किस तरह से react करेगी. So once you have a job, they are also settled in some way or the other, and they feel कि okay, now our child can handle their lives. तो you can do this. इसके अलावा तीसरी और सबसे important चीज, you do not have to come out to your family if you think it's not necessary. You do not have to do it. Just do as you like. Yes, that's it.
Okay, that's great. Okay, the next question is, what's a reform that we could as students work on in our classes?
Okay, thank you. That is also a very good question. और ये मेरा free talk में miss भी किया था. Thank you very much for bringing that up. We as students have a huge role to play in our classrooms, at our schools. क्या कर सकते हैं हम? वो ये है कि asking the pronouns is a culture that we are missing upon very, very seriously. What you can do is make this culture common, okay, in the school and at various different spheres and places in your lives. तो अगर आप प्रोनाउंस पूछते हैं, इसका मतलब ये है कि आप किसी की भी जेंडर आइडेंटिटी के बारे में अजम्पशंस नहीं बना रहे, और हमें ऐसी अजम्पशन से दूर ही रहना है, हमें इस लेबलिंग से दूर रहना है. हमें लोगों को खांचों में नहीं बांटना है कि ओके तुम्हें हम आदमी बुलाएं या औरत बुलाएं. वी डू नॉट हैव टू लेबल देम. हम लेबल क्यों करते हैं? हम लेबल अपनी सहूलियत के लिए करते हैं, सो दैट वी आर we get a better space, we get a better place, and we are able to calm our anxieties in different ways. तो इन labeling से दूर रहे और pronouns की तरफ एक कदम आगे बढ़ाएं. Yes, Sharanya.
Okay, that's it. That's the question.
Okay, thank you.
That was great. Thank you so much, audience, for the participation. And we'll move on to our next speaker, Mr. Kaushik sir. He's a lawyer and he's part of the Varta Trust. So sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I'll start by narrating a story which I heard. During the rule of Hitler in Germany, there was a missionary who was very God-fearing and also law-abiding. One day, one night, suddenly there was a knock on his door. He opens the door and sees a woman standing there with a very small child with her. It appeared that from her dress and when she spoke about it, it appeared that she was a Jew. And the Gestapo were searching for her to take her to the gas chamber. And this lady sought refuge with this priest. And the priest now was in a dilemma. As a law-abiding citizen, he is supposed to hand her over to the police. As a human being, he is supposed to protect all the children of God. Where we stand is at times, at this juncture, at this point of taking a decision, whether we should be law-abiding citizens or whether we should be human beings first. I'm a lawyer by profession, and I have been working with the queer community since 2003. That's around 18 years or so. And the reason I say this is because it's so wonderful to see that some of you here are around the same age, maybe 18, 19, a few years more. So I'll share with you a few of my experiences from the early days when being queer was synonymous to being a criminal. Let us remember that during those times, were not accustomed to the term queer. The terminology was restricted to LGBT only. The understanding of queer was not there. People were very uncomfortable talking about their gender markers. They were very uncomfortable talking about their sexual orientations because the entire society as a whole was completely binary and completely, in favor of a cis-het culture. I remember in those early days, once a person who was male assigned at birth, she came to my chamber asking for the legal process of undergoing an SRS. And remember, these are the days much before the Nalsa judgment. The surgery per se was deemed to be illegal. And when I was talking to this person, I remember this person said that when I go out on the streets, the local boys taunt me by calling me names. I have heard that there is a law and in the Indian Penal Code which protects women from harassment. There is no law to protect men from harassment. I am a woman. I want to identify as a woman. And if I can undergo the SRS, then these boys will not be able to humiliate me or taunt me, tease me. You know, this is a time, this is a dark, dark time. And at the same time, it was a time for us to raise our voice. The Constitution of India, along with the fundamental rights, talks about fundamental duties. And amongst those fundamental duties, we have learned that one should be a law-abiding citizen, should abide by the law. But like I said at the very beginning, that you do not need to abide by a law which is discriminatory, which is against human rights, which is violative of all principles of basic human existence. And hence, it was our fight together to get rid of the law. There was a time when I can share this incident with you, that there are two ladies, a lesbian couple, who wanted to meet other lesbian couples. And I'm saying this was in the late 1990s. And they would meet at a street corner, being very apprehensive of the other lesbian couple, because they did not know whether they were informers of the police. And they will inform the police and these people will get arrested. Constantly, there was a fear of being arrested, of having a police raid at a meeting. These things were constantly there. So you realize that in the process of our growing up, while talking about basic human rights, the queer rights, there was constantly an apprehension of the persecution by the state. And it was not just about the persecution by the state, but also the social persecution. For me, when I started working with the queer community, providing legal support, you will be shocked that I was the only lawyer in the state of West Bengal to do so. And even within the lawyer community, and I practice in Calcutta High Court, I had to face a lot of criticism, a lot of questions. And I remember once the Nas Foundation judgment was overturned by Supreme Court, the division bench of Supreme Court, and we were protesting at a street corner meeting. It was a Sunday. On Monday, when I went to court, I was arguing a case before a judge. The judge asked me, Mr. Gupta, where were you last evening? So I realized either he has seen me on television or he has seen me at the street corner. And I said, my lord, there is a violation of human rights and we were protesting against it. The judge was pretty upset and said, how can you say it's a violation of human rights, a Supreme Court judgment? And went on to say, but why were you there? I appear to be completely cishet. And I told the judge that, my lord, I was protecting the rights of your lordship and mine. And the judge was completely taken aback and said, no, that's not my right. I said, let us read the law. The law says, whoever voluntarily has carnal intercourse. It does not say when a gay or lesbian or a bisexual person has carnal intercourse. This was my policy, my strategy of talking to my non-queer friends about the need to abolish Section 377. Because unlike the media portrayed 377 as the gay law, it is not so. It was actually applicable to even heterosexual legally married couples having oral or anal sex within the confines of their bedroom. And when I started talking about this, more and more of my friends started realizing that it was a law which affected all of us and not just the queer community. But it was very interesting that when I first filed a case before the High Court, appearing on behalf of a trans woman who has undergone an SRS, I remember in the petition, I had to describe her. And when the case was being argued, the judge told me that, Mr. Gupta, you do not know how to write a petition. Once you have said the person was born a man, now again in the next paragraph, you're saying that this person is a woman. What is this? And So please realize that even the judiciary did not have any understanding of trans identity. Fortunately, we have come a long way. Fortunately, the High Courts and the Supreme Court has upheld the constitutional rights of queer individuals. However, the fight has not ended. The fight has merely begun. It is so wonderful, and I consider it to be a privilege to be addressing all of you and share this with you, that from here, we will have to carry the fight on and take it further. And as the part of the queer community, and I myself identify as queer, we need to talk about those communities who are still at the margins. While the LGBT community has got their rights, certain rights, I'll say, still conversation is going about the right to marriage, though in my opinion, that's not a primary issue to be dealt with. There are other important issues. The issue of right of inheritance, the right to buy property together, the right to make a nominee for an insurance, all these things, right to all the privileges of all the privileges that a cis-het married couple might have, for that should be given to a queer couple also. However, somewhere we need to start talking about people who do not yet have a voice of their own, who within the queer community are still marginalized. We realize that still within the queer community, there are certain sections amongst whom there is transphobia, there is biphobia. We have still not started talking to that extent about queer persons with disability, their rights to their sexual agency. Within the queer space, we have not yet talked about the kink community, people who practice consensual BDSM. We have not talked about the rights of people who are Dalits, queers, and are living in certain states of India where they are doubly or triply marginalized and discriminated against. And I would hope that the new generation which start talking about this will take this battle forward. I'll suggest, if you have not seen this, to look up Gail Rubain's Cycle of Hierarchy and see which are the communities within the queer space who are still marginalized, and the need to talk about them, to give their fight a voice. You know, when we have been talking about the queer rights, when we're talking about like the subject of toilet came up. You know, when I talk about gender neutral toilets, and people feel very scared about the safety of women in gender neutral toilets, while acknowledging the fear in a country like India, where we have no understanding or no respect, not only for gender orientations, but for basic human rights. It's a very difficult thing to conceive. But let us not forget that all of us are accustomed to using gender neutral toilets. Let us think of the toilets at our home. If we can have a toilet at our house, at our home, which is gender neutral, We need to broaden our thought process and see where else we can implement it. How we can educate children to respect this very basic and simple thing, I think, is the most important aspect. And if respect for each other is something that we can generate, we can teach, the understanding of gender, the understanding of sexual orientation, and the respect for them will also slowly evolve. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Personally, I learned so much from that. Wow. The next person that's going to be performing is another artist. Before we move on, again, the chat box is going to be open to questions. Sharanya will be taking them again. Our next performer is a 16-year-old singer. His name is Rajat Menon. He's been singing for quite a while and plans to hopefully release some original music soon. Rajat, you have the floor.
Very good morning to one and all present here. My name is Rajat, and I play guitar and a few other instruments, and I sing. And it's an honor to be here. All the speeches were really informative. And if you saw me being awkward on camera, that's just, I'm sorry for that. But yeah, I'm going to be playing an Elvis Presley song today. It's called Can't Help Falling in Love. Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you. Shall I stay? Would it be a sin if I can't help falling in love with you? Like a river flows surely to the sea, darling, so it goes. Some things are meant to be. Take my hand, take my whole life too. For I can't help falling in love with you. Like a river flows surely to the sea, darling, so it goes. Some things are meant to be. Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you. I can't help falling in love with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Raja. That was great. That was beautiful. Okay, Kaushik, we have a few questions for you.
Sure.
Okay, one second, I lost track. Okay. What are your views on the trans bill of 2019? How can we express dissent against the bill?
Well, I think it's a horrible piece of legislation. It has completely overlooked the directions of NALSA. And as far as I know, the already PIL or a writ petition has been filed before the Supreme Court, challenging its constitutional validity. Because of the pandemic and everything, it has not been taken up. But I think we should write more about it, because the very one small thing I'll say about the trans bill, that if you look at section 18 of the trans bill, it talks about the punishment, that if you beat up or sexually harass a cisgendered person, then the punishment is for 7 years. If you do the same to a trans person, it's 2 years. That says a lot about that law. I completely do not support, as a lawyer, I do not support the law. And I think we should write about it in whatever forum possible.
Right. Okay. Okay. Our next question is, wouldn't recognizing gay marriage help tackle many other issues like you mentioned, like joint property or investment issues, because they would be legally bound to accept them as a married couple?
You see, there lies the problem. That what is the necessity of accepting someone as legally married couple? Why can't we, have a live together relationship and that be accepted by the society? What about the rights of people who identify as polyamorous and who want to live in a poly family? How do you identify them as married couples? Because the word couple means two. And in the very word, there is discrimination. So that's something that we need to think about. When we talk about marriage, let us remember that it is a patriarchal, heteronormative institution. We need to ask ourselves whether we need to get into that.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much. We have a few more, but we'll address them in the end once we have a little more time. We're running a little short.
Sure,
so
sure.
We'll address those in the end. Moving on, we have our next speaker, Vihan. The floor is yours.
Yeah. Hi. So I'm audible? Hello?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I am going to start my talk with a little bit explaining that what is different between gender and sexuality. I know that all the speakers had mostly talk about the first speaker, Jan, has talk about that what is happening in pandemic, what are discrimination, and what kind of things are happening in school and education institutions. And Kaushik has spoke about mostly through legal aspect, but then also I want to go back and just start from basic and explain you little bit things. Before that, I just want to say that I am Vihan and I identify myself as Ambedkarite queer feminist trans man. When I say that I want to talk about and I want to explain about what's the difference between gender and sexuality, because it is important to understand and it is important to know that who is a trans person. When we are saying that we are celebrating LGBTQI community Pride Month, that in that context also we want to know that whose pride we are celebrating, and who is a person who really take a pride into celebrating this Pride Month. So I will start from this question. So a person who is assigned female at birth, like me, who don't identify with a gender which was assigned at my birth. Like when I born, my family and society said that Mubarak ho, ladki ho gayi. But when I grow up and I understand myself as a man, and I say that my gender identity is man, and I identify with a man identity. So I'm a trans man. So person whoever assigned with any gender at birth, yeah, any sex at birth, and they don't want to associate themselves with that gender identity for their whole life. And if they transgress that gender identity, then they are trans persons. And person who remains with that identity and say that and identify with same gender identity which was assigned at birth, they are cis people. going ahead of this, when any person who transgress any kind of normativity, any kind of norms, can be always seen as a person who is outside the societal norms and always get some kind of punishment. And these punishment are rooted because of our ideology, because of our society look person through that lens. So trans persons face lot of discrimination, lot of problems and harassment when they grow up, when they live in society. So, and this violence and this punishment come only because of the notion of patriarchy, only because of notion of people don't see them in that normative boxes. And the problems begins from there when persons start to face discrimination, persons started to go through a lot of violence. And this violence not even start in society, but this violence start from the family. And family is the first place when we think about the safe space. We always think the safe space is a family. But when for trans persons that space became unsafe, then it became more difficulty for the person to live. For it is not only for trans person, but for queer person also. That space became a unsafe space, and people want to go away from that space. Yeah, people don't want to be with that space because that space is not safe anymore. And we know that when we say that about trans persons face violence, we also know that women also face domestic violence in house. But the kind of violence that women face in house is different from the person who faces domestic violence in house who is trans and who is a queer person. It is different because we know that in biological family also we see that there is discrimination in men and women while upbringing because of our patriarchal thinkings in society. But this discrimination became at a more one layer because your sexuality falls beyond the normative norms. Your gender identity falls beyond the normative norms. And then it began a big problem in our society. And why I started this will talk with talking about basic things, because when we say that we want to celebrate Pride, then when we celebrate Pride only once in a year. In 1 month we have 2-3 talks, and that is our Pride month. Okay, but I think that this Pride celebration must be throughout the year. There must be allies who can be with queer person, who can be with the trans persons throughout the year. So this celebration can't be stay for 1 month with 1 talk, with 2 talk, having 2 conversations. So it is important to have a more conversations and acceptance in our society. And when we talk about queer person, then queer person don't come with one identity as a queer person, as a trans person. I don't come with a one single identity as a trans man. I come with different identities. Like I had born in certain kind of class. I had born in certain kind of caste. I had grown up in certain geographical area. And I also have some kind of privileges, some kind of access, and I don't have some kind of access. So when we are talking about a trans person, queer person, LGBTQI community, so it is important to, like Kaushik mentioned, that there are diverse people. We don't have a conversation of each and every person's identity. It is important to talk about more marginalized person. But so I personally think that when anyone who talk about gender, anyone who talk about queer identity, LGBTQI issue, it is important to think through a intersectionality lens, because those experience also matters. People who born in certain caste experience caste differently. Person who come from Savarna and upper caste background have certain kind of privileges, have certain kind of accesses. And person who come from a Dalit community, Bahujan community, Adivasi community, have certain kind of different kind of access and have faced discrimination in society differently. So it is important to always address that there is intersectionality in community rather than looking community in through the one lens and one language. Kaushik also correctly mentioned about person with disability. In our while we are talking about LGBT community, there are very few people we know that who are person with disability and a part of community. And we know that mostly for the panels who will go, will be people who will be from Savarna caste, who will be people who are from able body, and most importantly, who can speak English, who have the access of English. So I myself come from a DBA background. I identify myself as Ambedkarite, I identify myself as a Bahujan. But then also I got certain kind of privileges to go to education institution. I had my education through certain kind of education institution. So today I'm able to speak. But I know that from community which I come from, there are many people who are historically marginalized, not only because of their gender identity, but because of caste identity, and don't have access to this kind of spaces. They can't celebrate pride because of all the normative structure, all the patriarchal notion, casteist notion which exists in our society. So it is important to think through this intersectionality perspective when we talk about anything. Zayan had already pointed out that what is our situation of COVID-19, but just we go and touch upon it. I just want to say that when our pandemic began in 2020, so here were all the conversations around that migrant workers are going back to their home, they are going back to their villages. But at that time, what was where was our community? Where was people from trans community? Where was people from queer community? Are they went back to their houses? Are they went back to their villages? No, because trans people who left their family, they left their family because there is violence, because they don't want to stay with their family, and they know that if they will go back, there will be not acceptance for them. That house is not their house, so they can't go back. So there was that kind of structural discrimination which we see in COVID pandemic. I will just wrap up in 2 minutes. One more thing which I want to say, that in pandemic there was a domestic violence, and it was into a severe extent that which we haven't spoke about. And mental health issues faced by all the community, not only a queer community, but society. In society general, we saw that there was a mental health issues faced by people. But trans and queer people faced more mental health issues because of violence and discrimination they was going through. There was problem for HRT, the people who are on testosterone, people who are on estrogen, mostly trans men and trans women, they were not able to have that access. We know that most trans women or Hijra community people do a sex work, and this sex work was not able to, they were not able to do a sex work anymore, because in COVID-19, we know that touch is not, we can't do touch. We don't want to touch anyone. And their work closed down. And now they are not able to do that sex work anymore. And they are going through a worst phase, and they don't have any other earning source. There was also a problem for HIV medicines, which trans people mostly access. In earlier, in 2020, earlier phase, then it became a little bit, situation became great. Now people are able to access that medicines. More on the vaccine is most important thing, because we want to register online. And who can register online? People who have laptop, people who have internet connection, people who are able to read English will be able to access the internet facility and will be able to register themselves. And documentation is most important thing. Most of the trans people don't have any kind of documentation. They don't have their Aadhaar card. They don't have any ID proof. And when government say that we will give ration to trans community, they say that we want to submit a ID card and ration card to get that benefits. So how the trans people can go and take a benefit if they have to actually show some identity card and identity proof? So all things which were happening was really bad. And I will end with one note that Kaushal already had discussed about Trans Act, but Government of India has opened one portal that is Transgender Protection. It is based on Transgender Protection Act. For register the person or how to register themselves to get a trans ID card, and then if you want to take a male ID card for me, then I will be able to take that ID card. But that was a big problem. I myself register on that, and everyone can go and just check on that website, and they will be able to see my all details. They will know my dead name. They will know that where I am working, where I am staying, what is my phone number, what is my annual income. So it was that bad. So when we say that there is a right to privacy is important, and this right to privacy was violated by the government only. So there are many issues to discuss, and in 10-15 minutes we can't discuss all things. But I just want to end on this note that there are multiple problems we are trans community and queer community is going through, and it is important to discuss about it while celebrating Pride Month. Because yes, we are proud of our identities, but there are some problems which is important to address, and we on which it is important to talk about. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for that, Vihan. Our next performer is Tavishi. She's going to be singing for us. Go ahead, Tavi.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay, great. So, hi, everyone. I'm Tavi, and I'm really excited to be here and to perform for all of you. Before I start, I just want to thank WriteOps for organizing an event like this, because I can't speak on behalf of the community and how it's going to benefit them. But from the perspective of a cisgendered heterosexual individual, I think it's really important that we are constantly educating ourselves and furthering our knowledge on these topics so that we can be better supporters to the community. The song that I'm going to be playing is called This Town by Niall Horan, and although it's not directly maybe linked to the community and such, somebody that I'm very close to and her wife had their first dance to this song at their wedding, so I just thought that I would do this. Waking up to kiss you but nobody's there. The smell of your perfume still stuck in the air. It's hard. Yesterday I thought I saw your shadow running around. It's funny how things never change in this old town. So far from the stars. And I wanna tell you everything, the words I never got to say the first time around. And I remember everything from when we were the children playing in this fairground. Wish I was there with you now. If the whole world was watching, I'd still dance with you. Drive highways and byways to be there with you. Over and over, the only truth. Everything comes back to you. I saw that you moved on with someone new. In the pub that we met, he's got his arms around you. It's so hard, so hard. And I wanna tell you everything, the words I never got to say the first time around. And I remember everything from when we were the children playing in this fairground. Wish I was there with you now. If the whole world was watching, I'd still dance with you. Drive highways and byways to be there with you. Over and over, the only truth. Everything comes back to you. You still make me nervous when you walk in the room. Then butterflies, they come alive when I'm next to you. Over and over, the only truth. Everything comes back to you. I know that it's wrong, that I can't move on, but there's something about you. If the whole world was watching, I'd still dance with you. Drive highways and byways to be there with you. Over over and over, the only truth. Everything comes back to you. You still make me nervous when you walk in the room. Then butterflies, they come alive when I'm next to you. Over and over, the only truth. Everything comes back to you. Everything comes back to you. Thank you.
That was beautiful, Tavi. Thank you so, so much. We have one question for Vihan. One second. There's so much appreciation for Tavi, I can't see the question anymore. Yes. Could you share some foundations that work with marginalized groups within the queer community that the audience could support?
Yeah. So there are few organizations, a few groups which work with marginalized community. Like first one, which I will share, it is Dalit Queer Project, which have an Instagram handle. You can always go and follow them. There are some beautiful stories of Dalit queer people who you will find. There is one more thing. It is a Trans Vision Collective. It is also by Grace Bhanu, and they don't have Insta page, but it is a collective. They do some events, they do some talks, and you will able to see if you follow Grace Bhanu on Instagram. There are there is one more project like called the Queer Muslim Project, which specifically work with Muslim community who are queer. I think that they come up with a very interesting event every time, and there are a lot of conversations around discussing about intersectionality between queer and Muslim identity. And there is one more a project which is Chinky Homo Project. Mostly, these people are from a northeast. They are from Manipur, Assam, and they talk about how when they come from northeast to India, they call India, yani mainland India, in a term. That when they came from northeast to mainland India, like to Bombay, to Delhi, they always face some kind of discrimination because of race. But at the same time, because of queerness and because of trans and queer identity, they face different kind of experiences. So they go with a name Chinky Homo Project, and they also come out. Right now they are doing one campaign that is Yes We Exist. You can also follow them on Instagram, and you can see that what kind of work they do, what kind of different kind of voices they come up with, because it is important to listen to all the experiences which are out there. And I think most of us learn from that experiences only. So I will mention these few pages.
Okay, thank you so much. That was really informative. That's all for questions. We're running a little short. I mean, we're running a little late. But we'll wrap it up by 5 o'clock. Next, we have our next speaker, Priya, who sang for us in the beginning. Priya, the floor is yours.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much, Write-Ops, for having me here today. I hope I'm audible. So I am Priya Gondia, and I'm so honored to be a part of this event and delighted to share my thoughts with you all today. I've just passed through the teenage years of my life, and they're fresh in my memory. The mental health struggle, the identity struggle, everything from the bumps and potholes on the way to the smooth highway with scenic landscapes has taught me something. I've noticed a lot of things in myself and the people around me, but today I pick one particular thing that really impacts the way that we grow as individuals and the way we grow as a society. I want to talk about the journey of coming to terms with who you are, which is very interconnected with our acceptance of our sexualities and the process of finding our place in the community. A little bit about me. I'm a college student now, and my hobbies are singing and art. How many of you all have hobbies, things that you like to do? Give me a yes in the chat, or could you list them out just really quickly, a couple of them? Art, so many years, singing, sports, art, dance. That's so cool, man. So many different things. I love that. I'm sure you're wondering why I'm asking you for stuff you like to do. Have you ever wondered why you like to do the things that you like to do? When I was in primary school, my hobby was reading. I was a total bookworm. I'd even hide my books in the bathroom and read them in secret at night so my mom wouldn't find out. I was that torch under the blanket kid. Why did I love it so much? And where did I learn that this was the thing I love to do? Remember when we all were in kindergarten and we did every activity we possibly could? Singing, dancing, storytelling, reading, writing, you name it. I vividly remember dance class. It was a total disaster for me. I have 2 left feet. And it made me think, not for me. I'm not doing it. So I dropped it. And I haven't danced in years. I learned that I didn't want to dance by watching others do it. I learned that I like to read by watching others do it. I learned that it wasn't wrong to like doing different things simply by watching people do them. The way that we learn is very interesting. A lot of it comes from observation of our surroundings and the people around us. I've always appreciated people who could dance. They're different from me, special in a different way, and their talent is beautiful, and so is mine. I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's not the differences between us that divide us, but it's our inability to recognize and celebrate those differences, or at the very least, accept them. In this particular example, it causes envy, jealousy, and competition. But in other areas, like accepting other kinds of people, it causes a lot of discrimination and pain. Let's put aside accepting other people for a minute and talk about something that we don't learn about in school: accepting ourselves. One of the reasons that we like to do certain things is because it's a part of us. It makes us happy to accept it, to nurture that talent and showcase it. We feel comfortable doing the things we love to do, and it makes us love ourselves. How you love yourself is how you teach others to love you. This sounds very similar to Mahatma Gandhi's "Be the change you want to see in the world." When I start, I know in my own small way, I'm going to affect someone else. It's a chain reaction. Taking care of ourselves is the most powerful way to begin to take care of others. And it's inevitable that this will lead to a better world around us. So how do you take care of yourself, your mind? It's not something you learn in books. It's not something that people teach you. It's kind of like how you have to take a shower, right? To clean the exterior of your body. You have to eat right to cleanse the interior of a body. So you have to think right to clean your mind and soul. I'm no one to tell you what's right and wrong. I can't possibly define what thinking right is, but what I can tell you is what is real. Story from my life that I want to share with you. When I was in the 7th grade, I had just begun to have feelings for other people. The girls around me had crushes on boys and celebrities, mostly men. I, on the other hand, was completely obsessed with this senior girl. The way she walked, the way she talked, she spoke so elegant and classy. My God, it still amazes me. That was the time when we were all talking about our role models. I bet you remember giving speeches in classes like, oh, my role model is MS Dhoni or Deepika Padukone, Stephen Hawking, iconic people who, depending on who you are. So I convinced myself that this girl was just a role model to me. But somewhere inside me, I knew, hey, this is how people around me feel for the opposite gender. I was appalled. I hadn't seen anything like this around me. So I brushed it under the carpet. I was so relieved when I finally started crushing on a boy. And then it happened again. I was convinced that something was wrong with me and I couldn't tell anyone because number one, no one talks about these kind of feelings to adults in their life. And number two, maybe my friends would think I'm weird. I don't want to deal with that. So I just wished myself away and brushed my feelings under the carpet. Now, this was just romantic attraction. We all know that after a point, physical attraction starts. I was horrified. I ended up wanting to be someone else, I'm sure you'll agree, is a complete waste of the person you are. You lose out on growth, on self-confidence, self-love, so many things. Luckily, I had access to the internet where for the first time in the summer of grade 9, I read about girls liking girls and boys liking boys and so on, and I felt understood. Notice how I am not mentioning any correct terms. There was just no awareness about these things. It was pretty taboo. Things like this were ignored. They didn't, quote unquote, exist. That's a problem. Think about it. There's stuff that we know, like the previous chapter in school, stuff that we know that we don't know, like the next chapter. And then there's stuff that we don't know that we don't know. This is one of those things. I'm sure you'll relate to me when I say that teenage is the time of your life where you're finding out things about yourself, and it's hard. You're trying to fit in, get those good grades, be the perfect kid, match up to societal standards, fit in with groups of people in school and where you live. Finding out that anything about you is deviant or away from the so-called normal is a huge jolt, a setback even. The most important thing I learned through my experience is the importance of accepting what is real. Everything that exists is real. Every thought that you have is real. Every feeling that you have is real. There's so many people in this world, and everyone is different in their own way. And every single one is real. How long can you keep fighting reality? How long can you keep fighting yourself? So I came out to my best friend in the 9th grade. We did our, again, quote unquote research, and we were so chill about it, but we couldn't tell anyone else. We were scared. We didn't know what to do, how to approach people. That's why it's such a huge deal to me to create a safe space for the ones around me where they're accepted and loved for who they are. Anyway, so when we were talking about hobbies, we were talking about stuff that we chose for ourselves. Our romantic and sexual orientation is something we don't choose. We have no control over it. No matter what we do to alter it, there's no way we can be happy if we try to fit in. This process of learning about yourself, reading up, coming out, it's different for everyone. It's like your own personal storm, especially because we're young and we don't know and we don't have much access. The worst part of a storm is when it sets in, when it hits the coast. When it stays for a while, people learn how to deal with it, which is a very tiring and trying process, and then comes the calm. It's the same with us. The worst part of this life, of our story, isn't when no one understands you. It's when we don't understand ourselves, when we don't give ourselves a chance. Understanding yourself is the first step in understanding others, which is why acceptance and self-love is so important. In quotes, reality is reality. I am who I am. My thoughts and feelings are valid and I accept myself. This realization will give you so much peace, not just in accepting your orientation and discovering your identity, but in so many other things as well. You define who you are, and there's nobody else who holds that power over you. Coming to this realization, I'm not going to lie, is painful for some, very painful. A total breeze for others. After all, it's our individual story. I've seen, unfortunately, multiple cases where someone comes out and their family kicks them out, or they lose friends, and just awful things. And it's not glamorous at all. It's not my place to discuss other people's life and experiences. So I'll just say this. Once you accept yourself, you'll realize that those who mind don't matter and those who matter don't mind. Meaning, those who have a problem with you won't really matter to you. And those who do matter to you won't have a problem at all. Hopefully, ideal condition, right? You'll be surrounded with the unconditional love, support, respect, and loyalty you so deserve because you're a beautiful person exactly the way you are. I'd like to conclude by quoting the song I started with in the beginning. It's an anthem for our community. It's called Beautiful by Christina Aguilera. The lyrics are profound and the song makes me emotional every single time. You are beautiful in every single way and words can't bring you down. It's an anthem of strength and it calls upon people to be themselves. And that's what, in my opinion, Pride is about. Thank you.
Yeah, that was amazing. It was so well worded, and I think everyone's going to agree with me on that. With that, guys, we've come to our last performer for this event. Vedant Tripathi is a senior of ours, and he's in college right now. He's going to be singing for us. Vedant, take it away.
Okay, hi guys. So it's going to be difficult to follow up to that beautiful speech by Priya. So hi everyone, my name is Vedant and I'm 20 years old from Christ University, and I'm just really happy to be here. It was a very entertaining as well as knowledgeable event for me. So I'll just be playing two songs that are my personal favorite, so I hope you like it. First, am I audible? Is the guitar audible?
We can hear you.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. बनो मेरी चली ससुराल को अखियों में पानी दे गई दुआ में मीठी गुणगानी ले गई बनो मेरी चली ससुराल को अखियों में पानी दे गई, दुआ में मीठी गुणगानी ले गई। रे कबीरा मान जा, रे फकीरा मान जा, आजा तुझको पुकारे तेरी परछाइयाँ। रे कबीरा मान जा, रे फकीरा यूं न जा। कैसा तू है निर्मोही, कैसा अड़ जाइया। पल भर ठहर जाओ, दिल ये संभल जाए, कैसे तुम्हें रोका करूं। मेरी तरफ आता है गम फिसल जाए, आँखों में तुमको भरूं। अगर तुम साथ हो, अगर तुम साथ हो, तेरी नजरों में है तेरे सपने, तेरे सपनों में है नाराजी। मुझे लगता है कि बातें दिल की होती लफ्जों की धोखेबाजी। तुम साथ हो या न हो क्या फर्क है, बेदर्द थी जिंदगी बेदर्द है। अगर तुम साथ हो, अगर तुम साथ हो। Thank you.
Thank you so much. That transition had all of us smiling. Okay, so Priya, we have one question for you.
Okay.
How did you come out to your parents? If you did come out to your parents, that is.
Well, it's a bit of a complicated story, okay? So I was always very open to my parents about things like who I was into and stuff like that. And I think on my part, I was clear, but on their part, they were confused. And confused to the point where before we went to bed last time, my mom said, you know, Priyu, that's my nickname. When you're clear with what you are and who you identify as, please tell us. So I did have that conversation with my mom last night. And I think more than anything, it was a process. I think Zayan put it very well. He said, do what makes you comfortable. And I think that that is the best piece of advice that anyone can give you when you're coming out to anyone. You know, my story is very different from your story. And what worked for me is not going to work for you. It's really simple. It's like, hey, if I fail a test and I tell my parents I failed a test, my parents might be chilled with it, but yours might not. You know, this is making it super simple. Everybody's story is different. So do what makes you comfortable. I think that sums it up.
All right, great. Thank you so much. Kritika?
Give me 1 second. I'm just removing this content. Can you guys hear me? Give me a thumbs up or something. I'm not sure if you can hear me.
Yeah, you go ahead.
All right. With this, we've come to the end of the event. We're definitely going to have more to come. But I'm so glad all of you guys stayed through the entire thing. You can hear birds. There are birds chirping there. I'm so sorry for the background noise. But very, very glad to have all of you guys here. The speakers and the performers. I'm so glad you guys came. I'm very honored to actually hear you speak. All of us were talking about this, and the amount of knowledge all of us just gained in the past 1.5 hours is something I don't think any of us have learned in school in like 8 hours in one day. I can attest to the fact. But thank you so much for coming, all of the speakers, all of the singers. I understand a couple of them had to leave because of other commitments, but thank you so much for being here. Quick kudos and like quick thanks to the design team. I think all of them are still here. So Anusha, Akriti, Michelle, all of them headed by Niyosha Bhagat, managing director. All of them made the posters, the promo videos, everything. They handled all of this within a span of 2 weeks. So proud. And personally, I'd like to thank Yuvika and Sharanya so much. The number of calls we've made to them. Sharanya, please do this. What is this? Haven't you guys done this yet? All of that. So I've covered a lot of stuff, so I'm going to give it over to Surabhi now.
I think I covered most of it, but I just want to let you guys know that we're so grateful that every single one of you tuned in to this event. I personally learned a lot, and I'm sure all of us did. The singers and the speakers were exceptional. And I specifically want to thank the entire Write-Ops family for being there to support us. They've always been their wholesome selves, and I'm so happy and grateful to every single one of you. As Kritika mentioned, we definitely have more events to come, and we hope to see you guys again soon. Niyosha, go ahead. Yeah.
I couldn't mute myself. I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Surabhi and Kritika have pretty much covered everything. I'd basically like to thank all of you for coming. Much appreciated. So, yeah, that's all.
Thank you so much, guys. We're open to any sort of feedback, so please do like personally text us or text the Write-Ops account. We're definitely open to that. So, by all means.